Conversation right now with police spokesperson Charles Owino on the security operation in Laikipia. You must have seen a number of photos going around on the social media. So if you have any questions regarding that, you can ask us on Twitter. And of course, I will direct them to Charles Owino. Once again, thank you very much for coming. And early on, before we took a break, you said that the situation there is contained. But let's first talk about the situation yesterday. Journalists from the Standard Group are said to have been arrested. What happened?
We did not arrest them. What we did is that we took them to a place of safety. First of all, our officers did not know the persons who had gone to that particular place. And unfortunately, at that time, where they were had been invaded by some bandits, and there was kind of an exchange between bandits and police officers, and that would have put them to a lot of risk. They were in an unmarked vehicle. They had not informed the police that they were in that area. So they were taken away to safety, and that is the police station. And personally, I was called, and we have managed to identify them, and we allowed them to move on.
Well, earlier on, I was having a conversation with one of the journalists, Victor Ogale, who was arrested with them. He says that they were forced to delete the footage they had shot. Why was this?
Unfortunately, I may not be able to tell that because I was not there. And what you have is hearsay. You are saying he told you.
Yes.
So
from the witness.
I cannot be able to. I cannot be able to authenticize that.
Yeah.
But if it happened, then that's unfortunate. Yes.
Is it procedure that they should have deleted anything that they shot while on the ground?
There's no purpose of deleting any information that people have picked, because after all, there's nothing wrong we are doing in that particular place. What is happening, I know there's contention that animals were shot. This is not in the context in which it is being put. Because
what's the context?
What has happened, it's good to know the background of what is happening in Laikipia. Herders invaded private ranches, and they also invaded some conservancies. And what is happening is that in Laikipia, these ranches are privately owned by individuals. And as police officers, we have the mandate and responsibility to protect individual property, private property, individual property. It's our duty to do that. And many years before, herders have always come to ranches or conservancies, and usually what happens is that there's a structured arrangement on how they operate with owners of the ranches. But this time there was more of an incitement between people in political opposition and some other individuals who are inciting the herders against the conservancies with an information that they will be able to take up the ranches and the conservancies and give it down to the locals. But we appealed to the herders and requested them to leave the conservancies. Majority of them, actually, on a positive note, left. But there are a few ones who did not leave. Now, what has happened is that they come with animals, and they try using those animals as shields. What happens is that when they find security officers or any other persons moving in the conservancies or coming to remove them from the ranches, what they do, they use the animals as shields, and they fight using firearms. And in the process, what happens is they may hit the same animals which they are using as shields, and equally, the officers that are operating in these areas may also hit the same animals. And therefore, it is not an incident that the police or the government or the security agencies have planned to go and kill any animals. No.
So what are we saying? These animals were caught on crossfire between the bandits and the government?
Yes, a few animals who died were caught on the crossfire between the bandits and the security agencies who were on the ground.
Someone's understanding would be these people are invading these particular ranches because they're looking for pasture for their herds, because of course the drought situation in parts of those areas in, say, West Pokot and the rest of the areas. Why again would they use these very animals that they are risking their lives to get pasture for?
Yeah, what happens is that there's resistance. They have been requested to move out of the private ranches, and a number of them are obedient and they have left. The few who have not left have simply refused to leave. So when the officers come to remove them peacefully from the ranches, usually what they would do is to attack the officers with the firearms they have. What would you do? And we have a mandate to protect property. And ask yourself, for many, many years, before even you were born, I'm sure that we have been having drought, and we have been having people coming to these ranches. Why this time? Why threaten owners of ranches? Yeah, we have a duty to protect anyone.
Do you think it could be politically instigated? There's a member of parliament who's on record asking the people to protect what they think is theirs. He has been arrested and charged in court.
That is true. You are giving an answer to yourself. You know, there are some people who are inciting.
Does it complicate matters for you that politics is involved in all this?
It does not complicate matters for us, because we have the ability to drive them out of the private ranches, but we would have not preferred to use force or to drive anyone. We would have preferred to have a dialogue, as we started earlier, to request them to leave so that we could have a structured way of assisting them. Yes, but coming to invade, no, that cannot be accepted.
Have you tried disarming this so-called bandits?
Disarmament is a process which has gone on for very many years in this country. But as we are aware that most of our neighboring countries have had problems. Somalia has been unstable for a very long time. Ethiopia has had its problems. Sudan has had its problems. Uganda has had its problems. So the number of small arms in the hands, which are found illegally in people's hands, is just too much. So as much as you mop the arms, but we must also agree that there are a lot of illicit hands in wrong hands.
A number of leaders and residents from the area feel like this strategy that you are using to contain the situation in Laikipia and even parts of Kerio Valley are wrong. The leaders say
I would ask you a very simple question. You know, number one, we are on election period.
Yes.
And when we're on election period, most leaders would want to say what they think would be palatable to the persons that they represent. And therefore, immorally, they come up to suggest that we do, their supporters do things which are not right. But as officers of the law, we cannot do that. So if you hear them say that the mode or the procedure we are using is wrong, I would only ask one question. You are herding animals. You have AK-47. You have been requested to leave the ranch. You are shooting at security agencies and any other person to an extent of even killing. Then we just come and kneel down and plead with you in uniform and say, please leave, and you shoot my head. It can't happen.
So since the operation started, have you made any arrests?
Yes, quite a number of arrests. Yes.
Okay. How would you describe the situation right now on the ground?
The situation is fair. It's better. Most of the herders have left. They have gone to various areas, just save for a few who are still insisting to be there. But we believe in a few days we'll be able to have a quiet area.
Okay.
Save for the incitements that would come from leaders. And what we are going to do is any leader that is going to be involved in inciting people, then we just have to take reasonable action and have them arrested and charged like any other person.
This is a warning to leaders on the ground?
Yes.
Charles Owino, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in. Police spokesperson Charles Owino there on the operation going on in Laikipia County. And of course, we'll be bringing you more details on the same later on in our program. Let's now get